seen QuotedData plastered all over the Monster Investor Show. We're one of the sponsors here, and it's something that we love. We started the business, this is Ed, who's sitting in the driving seat over there with the computer. We started the business about 6 years ago. I used to be a fund manager for many years. Ed was a broker, he used to broker to me. And one of the things that we could see was that the research model, generally in investments, was kind of breaking down. And some of the regulations that have come along since have actually made that worse. So even for professional investors, they are finding it harder and harder to get hold of research because they now have to be charged for it. But at the same time, we could see, because we do a lot of stuff in investment companies, it's what we've always done, that retail investors were buying these things, but they weren't really getting the same information that the professional investors had. So we wanted to do something about that and to create a business that would help you. So why choose trusts? You are far away.
To the website now.
Yep, cool.
Excellent.
So the central thing is the QuotedData website, which hopefully will come up on the screen. The way that we're funded, because we get this question on the stand all the time, the asset managers and some of the investment companies actually pay us to produce information on them. So we are upfront about that. We don't try and pretend otherwise. But because we know that you wouldn't take it seriously if we just wrote puffy marketing material, we try and write stuff that's completely balanced. So we don't tell you, buy this, sell that. All it is trying to give you the information to make your own mind up. And because we knew that we couldn't just write on our clients, we try and cover the whole of the market if we possibly can. So Ed's got the sort of front of the website up there. At the top here is some of our research, the stuff that we've been publishing recently. And then underneath that, if he scrolls down, you've got the news. So every day we put up about 4, 5, 6 stories, just what's going on in the investment companies market. Might be something relatively boring like annual results, but sometimes it's like people buying stuff, selling stuff. This thing here, one of our clients is Civitas Social Housing, so the regulator's been talking about what's going on there. So there's always new stuff every day to come back and have a look at.
I should say that the analysts try and pick the top stories in the market. So often with RNS feeds and information feeds and execution-only platforms, there's so much information flowing through. So if you are an investment company's hobbyist, it's I'm a bit biased, but I think it's a good spot to go.
Yeah, exactly. And then if we scroll up again, Ed, please. And just go look at the banner across the top. Up, there we go. So you'll see across the top, you've got research, which is the stuff that we're writing, the news, so you can go scroll back all the way through. There's also a thing there, data. So let's go and look at that first. So we've got data there on a whole range of sectors. So it's not just investment companies. One of the things that we want to do over time is expand the amount of information we cover to include a lot more information on other companies as well. But if we look at investment companies, we've got information there. That's all split down by sectors of what they're trying to do. And if we just click on one of those, what you'll then get is some information which is all pulled through from Morningstar. You'd have to pay a fortune to get this if you were trying to do it yourself, but we give it away for free. And it lets you do stuff like see what the discounts are, so what's cheap, what's expensive, what dividends yield they pay out, what the underlying charges are, how big these funds are, and how often how much is traded. So you get a sense of how liquid they are. And then if we look at the short-term, long-term, that's the performance. Let's just click on one of those. And you'll be able to rank them by which one's the best performing. You've got a difference there, and this leads on to the whole point about investment companies, is they are a bit more complicated than investing in open-endeds, but we think this is one of the reasons why they're interesting and exciting. And one of the things is the difference between NAVs and share prices. So when Scottish Mortgage calculates its NAV, that's the value of all the assets it's got invested in it. So everything, all the investments it holds, plus the cash, less the debt it owes. That's the NAV. But the share price is determined by supply and demand, same way that anything else is. So that sometimes, if people love stuff, it can trade on premium to asset value, and sometimes it'll trade on a discount. And trading those moves in the discount to premium is one of the ways that you can make money over and above just what the underlying investment is doing. People fixate on charges, but they're actually I mean, I used to be involved in a company that used to try and clamp down on things like poor management practices and charges and that sort of thing. The industry's got much better at driving prices down. And so you can see for those big funds that, let's just don't go up again, they are quite tiny now, so down to 0.2% a year there for independent investment trust. These things are quite efficient ways of investing. And then what we've got then underneath, as Ed's just clicked on there, so you've got a page on every single company, which gives you a bit more information. Again, it's all pulling from Morningstar. You can see like share price charts there, and then there'll be a discount chart underneath that, and then a whole load of stuff about who the directors are and stuff like that. That's not bad as a place to start, but for our clients, and we've got about 35 of them now, we write much more in-depth research pieces that try and explain to you exactly how these things work. So if we go back to research, Ed, is that okay? And maybe just pick one of the most recent ones, just click on all research. So this is just the sort of summary page, and then if we look at the PDF, you click on the research note, you're going to go down, there we go. Cool. And that's not going to load now, is it? Yeah, there we go. Ta-da. So we do generally 2 notes a year. So this is the annual overview. These things are Bibles. They're everything you should need to know about the company. So who the board are, what the charges are, what the share structure is, how that works, dividend payments, how the investment process, how the manager goes about investing, and the generals of what's going on with the portfolio, so what they've been buying and selling, what's been driving the performance. There's a huge amount of information in there. Some of these things run to 25 pages. Some of them not all that long. But that's the sort of information that professional investors can get hold of, and retail investors have never been able to get hold of before. So this is something that we do for you. So there's that. I'd say they're on about sort of 35 companies now, and we are growing that over time. So we've got a whole load more in the pipeline coming. And we update these a couple of times a year. There's also, if we go back up to the top, Ed, because I know we've got a huge amount of time, we've got some stuff on events. So we've got like an AGM calendar. I think one of the things that I love about investment companies is you can go and actually talk to the managers and talk to the board and ask questions, and trying to do that with an open-ended fund is really hard work. So these are, we really encourage people to go to AGMs and stuff if they can. If you hold something, then definitely make the effort. It tells you where it is, when it is, all that sort of thing. But Ed's put up Master Investor, we know where that is. And then lastly, underneath all of this, there's a huge amount of kind of educational stuff. So one of the things that we're giving away free on the stand downstairs is we've got a guide that just explains all the jargon. It starts off from first principles and then builds on that to really quite sort of complicated stuff. So it's all the rinky-dinks that make investment companies interesting. So that's downstairs. And then built into the website, there's also a glossary so that you can stick a search term in and it will tell you what it is. And actually that's sort of highlighted now on the website too. I better sort of wrap up there and answer any questions if there are any, because I know we are running short of time. Hello, sir.
When you mentioned the research, do you register and it is free, or do you have to pay for it?
No, everything we give you is free. Because it's all being paid, we're being paid to provide that information to you. Yeah.
You said you provide information about AGMs.
Yeah.
Is that just on your investment trust, or?
We're trying to do it on everything. It's something we only started doing 3 or 4 months ago, and we're kind of building it out. Again, it's just trying to encourage you to get involved. I think that's the most important thing.
James, behind you, you can see the form. It's fairly simple, and you can select the sectors that you may be interested in, and the global regions and the sort of size of company that you might be interested in there, and the obvious disclaimers, etc. But it's fairly simple, and like James says, it's free. Yeah.
Good. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.